Did you end up playing around with gear a little bit to try to accommodate some of your physical needs before the
A
surgery?
little bit, yeah, a little bit. Went looser with my like the toe ties. Try to give my ankle a little bit more room to move, and so it wasn't getting cranked upwards by that toe tie. I tried that. I tried going looser on my skates, which didn't really help. I tried going tighter on my skates as well, which didn't really help. So yeah, I tried a lot of stuff.
Change brands of gear as well?
I changed brands a long time ago. Yeah, probably like 4 or 5 years ago now, and that didn't really have anything to do with my hips. It was just more of like the seal. That was like a tactical thing, not a health thing.
Like the Von pads were just kind of like twisting up at the thigh rise a little bit too much?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and just when I tried the Trues, they were just so the seal was so clean on the ice and on the post. It just felt more stable. Yeah, so that when I switched gear, that was all like a tactical thing, technique type of thing.
Sexy set of gear too. Like the True stuff looks really.
It looks nice.
It looks,
yeah, I find it looks big too. Like it looks bigger than some of the other pads, even where they are the same size. It just looks bigger, which I think is
wider, more boxy.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, which I think definitely doesn't hurt.
Was there a specific reason though that kind of led you to changing though? Like you were talking about like the soft seal, or not the soft seal, the thigh rise twisting up. But as far as the gloves, the rest of your gear, is there any like moment that led you to say, okay, like I want to switch brands, I want to try some new stuff out?
Yeah, I don't really know what it was that. Honestly, I think it was because I saw like the whole league was starting to switch to Trues. This was like 4 or 5 years ago now. I just saw like so many guys starting to switch over, and I was just kind of like, what's the hype about, sort of thing. And so I gave it a shot, and like right away, as soon as I tried the Trues on, like the balance and like the seal that I had, it just felt way more stable, way less rocky, and yeah, that was it. Only took really one time wearing them to notice how good they were, and obviously that's, I guess, why I was late to the party, but that's why the whole league had already basically switched to True, or the majority of the league is now wearing True, I think.
I think you're pretty cutting edge though with the chest protector hack. So I had the Hyperlite 1 chest protector, and like because I'd hang it and it would get so flat, and I couldn't figure out why. Because
all about the drying thing.
Yeah. So I had the Hyperlite 1 chest protector, super flat because I was hanging it all season long in the stall, and then I always ask myself, why do guys that have the same chest protector, why does it look bigger? And then I know yours looks almost like a caveman. I know you have bigger shoulders, but it looks really big. And a lot of other guys too, like a Bob, like a Vasi, like even a Carey Price. And I remember I texted you one day, I'm like, how are you doing that? Because we have the same stuff. Like yours is smaller than mine, but looks bigger. And then you mentioned sit it, scrunch it down, never hang it.
Yeah, I like a little like depth to it. They get real iffy when you're adding any like size to it this way. But I like to have a little depth to it so that when it hits you in the chest, there's like a little like cushion type of feel. It's because when it's just flat on your chest, I feel like it bounces off a lot. You can't control rebounds as much. So I definitely don't mess around with anything like this way or this way, because they get real iffy about that. They're real serious about that. But I always wanted to have, and it was kind of watching Carey Price was where I kind of saw. He just looked like his chesty like came out a lot. And so when it would hit him, it would just like absorb and just stick to him. And so I just started, when I let my gear dry, I just like squish it underneath like the bench. And if it's like a visitor's locker room, you stick it underneath the bench. If you hang it like on a hanger, it just falls flat, right? And it dries flat. And then like the way that your gear dries is kind of like the shape that it carries. So yeah, I just started like kind of scrunching it down and like compressing it like that. And then it dries a little bit, like puffing out a little bit. And again, I'm not messing with anything this way or this way. But you know, I like having that little cushion type of feel when pucks hit you in the chest, so they're not bouncing out. They're sticking to you a little bit more. And that was something I picked up. I just saw Carey Price's chest. He was like that. It sat like super far off his chest, and I figured it definitely helps to, absorb some of those rebounds.
I think it helps you move better too, because I found like when you strap it like real tight to the ribs, you're kind of like almost like hunched like together. You can't really move. But then I found at least like loosening up the straps a bit, and then the scrunching technique, like you mentioned, you get those mobility like in the lower abdomen, and like things aren't scrunching up, they're not getting tight, and you can kind of like move around almost like a snake. I found.
Yeah.
So that goes full credit to you.
Yeah, you move kind of like inside your chest as opposed to like moving with you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a little bit more freedom to move in there. Yeah.
I think Henrik Lundqvist had a quote. He said, the gear should play to your game, not you playing to the gear. And that's like textbook, just like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm constantly, messing with new stuff or trying new sticks or new skates or, 2-piece versus 1-piece skates. And there's always new technology coming out, right? All these new companies are trying to get that cutting edge. And most of it, I won't say most of it, but some of it can be a little gimmicky and a little bit, kind of just like an advertising gimmick. But some of it definitely does work too. That's why, you got to find the right gear that fits your game the most. Like I tried the 2-piece skates, and I felt like for a guy my size, like it had me sitting a little bit too far pitched to my toes. And so the first time I wear them, I remember I stepped on the ice and I almost face planted because my whole weight was like so far pitched forward that I wasn't used to, that I went like first step on the ice, I kind of went like that. And so I went back to the 2-piece because they sit a little bit more flat, a little bit more balanced. Like for a big guy like me, I can't be off balance because a bigger guy takes longer to get back to balance before you move. Maybe a smaller guy might be able to get away with it, like a guy that's super athletic, but not me. So that's why your gear has to be dialed, because you like at this level it comes down to milliseconds out there. And so you're trying to pick up milliseconds here and there to maybe create, a quarter of a second, because that's a big, a quarter of a second is huge in goaltending. So if you can find all these little milliseconds here with the rest of your gear and it all adds up to a quarter of a second, let's say, that's huge. That's huge.
Kind of give me deja vu. They tell me that experience, because when I tried the 2-piece skates the first time, exact same thing. Fall forward on your face, what's going on? Yeah. And then a little bit of a different way to the same result, but I ended up throwing my cowlings back on the 2-piece skates. I know it's more like a dinosaur move because the cowlings have been long gone for a while.
Cowlings, yeah.
But because they're neutral pitch, the Bauer ones, and then that's how I got kind of the same feel. And then because I got the Connect skates, which I love the hinge on that, but then you put the cowlings on, so you get like a neutral hinge, as opposed to being so like tip forward, like you mentioned.
Yeah. For a bigger guy, I think being balanced is key. Because especially for me, I got super long limbs. So I'm tall, but I'm like all legs. Like I have pretty short torso, and super long arms too. So and that's good and bad. It takes up a lot of space, but when your arms, when your center of balance or your center of gravity is so far away from your midline, having such long limbs, it just takes longer to get it back before you go that way. So balance for a big guy, balance is like probably one of the biggest factors in making sure that you can get to where you want to go in a timely manner.
Well, it's something we don't naturally have either. It's hard to get because we're so big.
Right.
As opposed to like a UC Saros or a Halak or I think Sturkin's 6 feet, right? Smaller guy.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. But however tall he is, he's a freak athlete, and unbelievable puck handler too. I love watching Shesterkin make breakout passes over 3 guys' heads. He's fun to watch for sure.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button. We do a new podcast every single Sunday during the season called Sling the Biscuit. It is a non-mainstream hockey podcast, so we talk about my hockey career, the minor pros, Spain, the Fed, you name it, all the stuff that you won't hear in the mainstream news.
Music,
pop culture,
politics, a little bit.
Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.